Hey, true believers, Chris Mack coming at you today with another marvelous, see what I did there, weekend figure review. Today we are going over the Marvel Legends Deadpool Strong Guy Build-A-Figure Wave Maverick. And I love this character because, you know, he was along Weapon X with Wolverine and Sabretooth and Silver Fox and all those cool characters. And I'm glad that they made an updated version from the old school, you know, I think it was 3 3/4. I can't remember how big those things were back in the Toy Biz days when they first came out. But anyway, this figure looks absolutely so cool. And I like that they put Marvel here because he's not necessarily X-Men. Same thing here on the top with the varnish that says Marvel. But yeah, I want to first say, if you guys want to pick this figure up, please check with your local comic shop to see if you can grab yourself one. If you don't have an LCS where you live, then you have a couple of options here. First, you know, fingers crossed for you that they do have them at Walmart. If not, I do see that they are available on Megalopolis, City of Collectibles, Dorkside Toys, Big Bad Toy Store, and DMW All Things Marvel. I first want to give a shout out to my buddy Jacob. We're both part of a local comics group, and he found this for me at a Walmart, and so we met up. He hooked me up, so thank you so much, brother. Been looking all over for Maverick. So as we saw, you know, we got the varnish there, Strong Guy there. Come around to the side. That, my friends, is an awesome rendition. I'd love to know which artist they got to do these for this Deadpool wave, because these are so cool. And I like that they actually use little, you can't see them that well, but they're little X's here on the back. So, you know, it still shows that he's kind of part of the X-Men world there. Come around here, you get a really cool product shot, read up figures needed from the wave, so I'll make sure you get close-ups on that so you guys can check out which figures you need to build Strong Guy. Come around here to the side, same very cool artist rendition there. On the bottom, legal stuff, who cares? But as I say, what we do care about is Maverick a cool X figure or not. So let's go ahead and get him out of the packaging and check him out. And here's Maverick out of the packaging, and as you can see, he looks absolutely awesome. There's maybe like a gripe or two here or there I have with this figure, but overall, I absolutely love this piece. Maverick's kind of one of those underrated characters in my opinion. He has all these powers and whatnot, so we'll kind of get into that here in a moment, but I just wanted to put him on the spinner, and as you can see, you can get him in some really awesome poses, which is something that I love when you can get really a dynamic range with these characters. So let's go ahead and get Maverick off the stand and get more info and just kind of see this figure and how awesome he is overall. Backstory on David Nord, or as he eventually changes his name, I believe it's to David North, is his first appearance is X-Men number 5 from the 90s run. It's the issue right after the first appearance of Omega Red. He saves Wolverine. So make sure to check that issue out. We've done a review on it, so I'll make sure to leave a card up here somewhere so you guys can click it at your convenience after you've watched this review, or pause it and you this one and then go check it out and come back. And you're back. And I gotta say, you know, I don't know a whole lot about Maverick. I know he was on Team X with Wolverine and Sabretooth and Silver Fox, and I appreciate that, even though Barry Windsor Smith did that Marvel Comics Presents run with Wolverine, which we also have done a review on, so I'll try to leave it somewhere up here as well. And Larry Hama eventually goes on to do kind of a sequel to it called the Shiva scenario, which is a great run. It runs through Wolverine 48 through 50, and what I like is you actually get Maverick in there, and Wolverine kind of starts interacting with all these people from his past. So it's really cool. If you guys have any more suggested reading for Maverick, I'd love to check it out, so let me know down in the comments below. And I also appreciate that when in the 90s when they did the X-Men the Animated Series, when they did the Weapon X, what is it called? Weapon X Lies and Videotape, I believe. That is kind of a homage to the Shiva scenario, and so Maverick is in that episode, so very much a welcomed addition. And then I like that they also brought him into the newer Wolverine and the X-Men show. That was cool. They really did a great job fleshing him out there as well. So that's kind of a quick backstory on David Nord. You know, he has all these different powers. If you want to know more, check him out in the comics, because yeah, he's definitely worth it. Now for accessories, other than the Build-A-Figure piece, we get 2 guns, which is really cool. Let me go ahead and get a focus on this. And you know, they kind of match his armor, which is okay. I kind of wish that was a darker gunmetal gray, but you know, I can't complain too much. I think they look neat. I know they look more kind of like cyberistic, you know, more of a cyberpunk feel. But that's okay, because in the 90s, you know, everything was exaggerated and they wanted to kind of give them different weapons, and that's what they did here. So we'll go ahead and start with this one, which I think is really neat. I like that it kind of looks more like a very exaggerated pistol. Has, like, you know, 2 hand holder here, or you know, I guess that's where you put the clip. I like the little machine gun thing there. That's awesome. Love the little attention to details. You got the trigger guard, you got the trigger itself, the handle looks nice. And I want to say it looks like kind of like a Walter P50, yeah, that P50, I think. I'm not 100% sure. Feel free to make fun of me down in the comments. But I like how they add all these little rivets and whatnot. You know, when you give attention to the accessories, it really helps enhance the figure. So that one looks great. This one looks cool. This looks like a minigun. I love this huge banana clip. That is awesome. You know, just try to think about hearing that on a gun range. You know, it'd just be going nuts. Like my Roger Rabbit rendition there. But yeah, great guns overall. Now it's kind of interesting that there's a hole there. Why, I don't know, but that's all right. Still, overall, again, great details on the gun, so no complaints there. As for the figure himself, in terms of paint apps, I think he looks great. You'd think the lack of paint, like in his hair, you know, you think they want to add some black dry brush or whatnot, or some black wash, as people say, would help, sure, but still, nonetheless, looks good. I like the mask. It's very much an homage to the 90s. I love it, love it, love it. Love the red eyes. The black here looks really good. And then I just like all the little line work on the mask. Maybe they could have added some black wash onto it just to help kind of, what do you call it, enhance it, just so you can kind of see more of the details. But that nice shimmering gold, I think, looks good. And like I said, with the hair, when you're doing poses and whatnot, even though it doesn't have some black wash in it, at least it interacts with the light, so you can kind of get some shading in there, so no problems. These cables are really neat. I like that they actually made them look like tubes. So you can kind of see the lines there and how it just shimmers with that light. That looks good. The backpack looks awesome. I never understood if that's supposed to be like a breathing apparatus or what exactly that's supposed to be. So let me know down in the comments. The only thing that kind of kills me on my figure is it has some paint right here, so I'm thinking I might need to get a swab with some rubbing alcohol and try to get that out of there. But speaking of that, the leather strap looks good. Looks a little battle worn. I think that looks good. And then this little ammo clip here, that looks cool. That is cool. It looks like a bandolier, I think is what it's called. That's awesome. And then what's neat is this breathing apparatus here, as you can see, it's loose around his face. So you're just kind of loose pieces, because sometimes that can be annoying. But what's neat about this one is if you work with it, and if you need to warm it up a little bit, you can work it up. Now that I'm trying to do it on camera, I can't do it. Let's see here. There we go. So you can actually get that breathing apparatus around his mouth. So at least it's functional. So you can play with that, and whether you want to put them on a stand or, you know, do photography, you have another option there. Armor looks great. Again, I think that gold, I know people, I've watched other reviewers and people kind of complain saying it's too shimmery. Yeah, I can kind of understand that. I mean, if you turn off one of the lights, it's still, I don't know. It doesn't bother me too much. I think that looks cool. I love the black along the back of the gloves. And just in the armor itself, that nice silver tint, I think that looks good, because metal is supposed to be nice and shimmery like that. So I have no complaints about that. That black, though, that just really helps. That's neat. The gun holsters, I think it's nice. Has that nice leathery look about it. Now, here's my only complaint. So you take the smaller pistol-looking one, and it fits down like so. So that's awesome. But there's nowhere to put this one. So you have to kind of get creative, like try to maybe clip it on there so you can at least get a weapon storage. So that's something you'll have to be creative with, which at the end of the day, that's not too bad. You have to really just be creative, and that's all right. That's the best part about doing action figure posing and articulated comic book art, is just being creative and figuring out what you can do with your figure. Here on the back, I like how after you get the backpack, you kind of see where the bandolier merges in, so that's cool. I like the belt and how you get more straps under here, so it looks very militaristic, and it looks like it's hooking into his belt. This right here, when you start posing his legs, it can start to warp and hang out here, but you just warm it up a little bit and hold it down, and it kind of starts to come down again, so don't worry if it starts to look kind of like, oh, good grief, that's ridiculous. So no worries there. I like the metal here along the legs. That looks awesome. I think that looks just great. I don't know, I think maybe I'm biased because Maverick's one of my favorite characters. I like the ripples in the brown pants. That just really helps. I don't know, it looks very militaristic. Same thing with the feet, how you get the cuffs here around towards the ankles. Yeah, a great paint apps overall, guys. I mean, look at the way that ripples in the pants. That just looks so cool. It looks like he's out there and seeing some damage, and I like how that metal just really seamlessly merges into it. So overall, great paint apps. I mean, that one little thing here on the back, that drives me nuts. I hope that you all don't have that problem, so I just, but that's okay. Other than that, great look on him. Now, he is very posable. I love how bendy this character is. Though, before we get into it, I do want to stress that with all of your figures, if you plan on posing them, please first and foremost warm them up. You can use kind of like hot water or a blow dryer, or as I posted on our social media pages, I use a space heater out here in the garage. I just lay him on there for a little while, and I left him on there a little too long. He was a hot character to move, but afterwards, it really paid off after he cooled down because it really made those joints nice and loosey-goosey so that I can kind of get any type of kinks out of the way. So with that said, let's look at his head. Even with this breathing apparatus and these cables, I appreciate that they made it to where you get some good clearance so he can look down about that much, and he can look down. I mean, look at that. Boom! Look at that. That is awesome. Not many figures can do that, especially with this. You know what I mean? So, heck yeah. And then you get some attitude in the head. So, you can look that way and that way. So, I'm glad those cables don't really hinder head movement. Arms can move out that much. They can move 360 without being hindered. Upper bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows, so heck yeah. And then he doesn't have anything at the glove, but his hands rotate 360. They can go, oh, well, there's a little bit. You can't really move the hands too much, but that's okay. Yeah, you can't really move the hands. I was double checking on that, but that's all right. No complaints there. That's all right. What you call a torso. If you move it enough, like I said, if you warm it up, you can get him to move that much because you do have this bandolier that's in the way, but that's all right. You can move him that much, and then for ab crunch, down that far, and about that back. Legs, even with these, now as I was saying, this may start to warp and kind of stick up, so you may have to warm it so it goes back down. But still, that's great that there's no hindrance there. You get clearance. Legs can go forward that much, that far back. Double jointed knees, yes, that's what we want. And then his foot can go down that much and up that much, and he does have ankle pivots. So, even though that bandolier is in the way, you at least still get some great articulation. I'm glad that the pieces that he has, for the most part, don't really hinder him. And like I said, if you warm him up, you're going to be okay. Just after you warm him up, move him around a little bit, not too much, just enough to kind of see that when it cools off, you'll get that clearance. So here's Maverick up against the other two figures from the Strong Guy Build-A-Figure wave that we've already gone over, Warpath and Sunspot. And as you can see, he is a big character. He almost gets as tall as Warpath, but I think other than the Build-A-Figure, I think Warpath is the biggest in this wave. And that's okay. I think Maverick looks good the way he is. I mean, when you look at him for the first time in X-Men number 5, he is big and beefy. Roberto here, you know, he's one of the younger New Mutants, so he's a little bit smaller because he's kind of more the young buck along with Cannonball. So that's okay. I think these scale well, in my personal opinion. If you guys have other thoughts, let me know down in the comments. I love to hear feedback and kind of what everyone thinks thus far. But so far, this wave has been really fun. I've enjoyed each figure that I've gone over, which are these three. And I just cannot wait to get to the others because Maverick, oh yeah, that's so exciting to finally have that awesome figure from the 90s. So please tell me what you guys think. Love to hear your feedback. Overall, absolutely awesome figure, y'all. I highly suggest going back and kind of reading his first appearance in X-Men number 5 and just kind of seeing the backstory of David North, or David Nord. I don't know, I have no super real complaints with this action figure. I do wish though that the other gun, that they would have put some sort of like peg that you could, you know, holster. That way you can holster both weapons. I hate when they give you 2 or more accessories and there's nothing you can do with it. That's why I like that G.I. Joe Snake Eyes, because there's like, you could put the weapons everywhere. And that's just something, you know, being a collector and being someone who likes to pose figures is, you know, just having that ability. So that's probably my only biggest complaint with this figure. Other than that, they gave us a really great dynamic range for posing. I mean, look at this. You get him up on one leg and get him on the spinner, and he is just holding his own. That is impressive. I love that even though we have all this cabling going along, you can still move his head with no real problems. And he is just super duper bendy. So no complaints whatsoever. I give this figure 10 out of 10, y'all. So if you've enjoyed this figure, please first and foremost, support your local comic shop and see if they can get one in stock for you. And also, if you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you can know, possibly know, should I say. I haven't had enough coffee yet. And it continues us to continue giving you content to enjoy in these crazy times. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that fancy little Marvel bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with y'all and hearing your feedback down in the comments below or on our social media pages, which I will make sure to leave the links in this down in the descriptions. So with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.